Why are some parents today against sleepovers? They are worried about sexual abuse. It's not a new phenomenon. Knew plenty of families who didn't do it when I was growing up. Sexual assaults on children are typically done by someone the child knows, and knows well. However, a lot of people don't look further into the data. There's estimates between a third and half of the assaults are also incestuous, done by a family member. A lot of people who don't do sleepovers are victims themselves. Some won't do family sleepovers either. So is the concern founded? Depends on how you look at it and your comfort with assessing risk. Sexual abuse. My mom was a criminal lawyer. She still let me have sleepovers, but I was a very outspoken, not shy kid, and she gave me a cell phone. I was the last of my friends allowed and only allowed at certain friends' houses. You'll probably have the same rule with my daughter. I think it's fine to have a sleepover if you know the parent's family very well. If it's some random classmate or whatever, then no. It makes me feel so sad and lucky at the same time. I had sleepovers all the time as a kid. It makes me sad that kids don't get that experience anymore because of something so horrible. At the same time, if I had kids, I'd likely be pretty wary of sleepovers as well. I'm aware that myself and my friends were basically lucky we never had something like this happen. Why does the world have to suck? Vulnerability to sexual assault by parents, other relatives of host kid, or other kids. I have kids teen and young adult, and there was a sleepover every weekend beginning in 2nd grade or so. If parents are against it in general, I never got the memo. Did you just see that news story less than a week ago about that guy who drugged all these girls at a sleepover? That's why. A shocking amount of parents are secret sexual abusers or drug addicts. It's really hard to trust people nowadays because statistically, SAs are mostly committed by people the children know. Unfortunately, I think the reason that some parents adopt this thought process is because they experienced harm in similar situations in their childhood and are speaking out to prevent it from happening to their kids. It's not that they are more paranoid or that sleepovers are more dangerous than they used to be, but because parents used to be kids themselves and they've seen too much. Obviously, that isn't the case with all parents or adults who went to sleepovers. As kids, I had nothing but positive sleepover fun with my friends. But if my parents had known at the time that my best friend's dad was mentally unstable and had a gun in the house, they probably wouldn't have let me go there at all. I was lucky, but not everyone is, and a lot of people don't want to risk those odds. Safety concerns. I wouldn't let my kids to sleepover unless I knew the parents. I had uncountable numbers of sleepovers. We called them slumber parties in the 70s. My own 90s and 2000s kids had hundreds of sleepovers. I hosted sleepovers maybe every weekend of 2 kids' junior high years, involving multiple kids and thousands of pizzas and movie rentals. We all survived and it was hella fun. Nobody was abused. Because there's much more awareness around sexual abuse now. People are aware that most of the time it's someone the children knows, and there's less focus on the strange man grabbing you from the bushes idea. I think it's much less about them not trusting their own child, but rather, not trusting other people. And I think it's a very valid concern. And the problem is, even when the parents know each other, that still doesn't necessarily make it safe either. Safety concerns. I learned in college a lot of my peers weren't allowed to sleep over anywhere with a man or boy in the house. Safety for sure. I won't let my kids stay somewhere unless I know the parents. I live in a small town, so a quick ask around will give me any idea about neighbors, other family members, or any other issues. That being said, I have zero problems having my house be the hangout spot, not the same as party spot. It's twofold. I know where my kids are and hopefully they understand that if they are ever in a position where they need help, they can call, text us. While I've drilled it into their heads for years, if you're in trouble, drunk, high, or the person you went with is, or just want to GTFO, they know we will get them, and while well ask questions, they won't get in trouble. But I don't want something horrible to happen that will change their lives forever. I can't completely guarantee no harm will happen to them, but sure as shit I'll make sure I take every precaution to limit it. Ask about a dozen close friends or relatives. Did anything inappropriate ever happen to you at a sleepover? The answer almost certainly won't be zero. Now ask yourself, what is an acceptable risk that you would accept for your own child when it comes to sleepovers and the possibility of being molested or worse? The know them well vs stranger argument has a flaw because it's usually the people you least suspect. And a safe environment can also have an unexpected entrant. It's usually a cousin, uncle, friend of a friend, friend's brother, friend's cousin, etc. It's concerns of sexual abuse and unfettered access to the internet. Our boys have sleepovers and are allowed to sleep over, but it's with people that we've been friends with for 20 years and we are literally like their kids, aunt, uncle, and vice versa. My mom almost never let me sleep over at my friends' homes, but they could come to mine. Safety mostly. Both my parents worked in the Australian prison system, overseeing those who would harm children if given the chance to do so. The ones that are in prison are just the ones who were caught and found guilty. I only had sleepovers at my house because of this, but I could somewhat understand why. Predators blend in. While not having sleepovers may be inconvenient, it's safer than living with the trauma of abuse.